Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, StarCraft 2 fans, and welcome to the Alienware Arena. We are continuing here today with our Week 6 coverage. I, of course, am Katu covering here for Frodon and Clutch, who could not be here today. We've got a ton of great games coming up as usual. We're even going to be starting here with our current rank 1 on the ladder for the Alienware Arena event. It is, of course, clarityEngyn, and he'll be going up against Proficient. So, without any further ado, I love getting right into the games. Let's get started.
You are watching the Alienware Arena.
So here we go. We do have Antigua Shipyards as our starting map, and our yellow Zerg is none other than Proficient. And we haven't seen him play just yet, so we'll have to see if his name is a self-fulfilling prophecy or not. And spawning in the top right position, of course, is the Blizzard version of Antigua Shipyards. It is clarityEngyn. Right now as SC2 And I'll actually have to ask him why he got rid of the MK part of his name, because it wasn't really part of like a previous team tag or anything like that. It was really part of his actual alias. Maybe he's going for some kind of rebirth scenario like Snoop Lion, I think is Snoop Dogg's new name. I always forget if it's Lion or like Panther or something, because I feel it really should be Panther. I feel like Snoop Panther sounds kind of cooler, or at least not as bad as Snoop Lion, because Snoop Lion sounds pretty freaking ridiculous. But with that being said, we see Engyn is actually sending his overlords right out across the map, and in a ZVZ, that can definitely hurt you, not having your overlords in position to scout any incoming Zerglings. And with Engyn really here thinking that it is, of course, forced cross positions, he's going to have his overlords in horrible position. Now, meanwhile, Proficient has gone for an extractor, or spawning pool into extractor style of play here. Looks like a 14. Wow, that was actually really early. Looks more, in fact, like a 10-9. So this is a super aggressive play here. I was busy looking at the overlords and other early game stuff, but Proficient is going to be getting super aggressive. And meanwhile, Engyn did go for a hatchery first play. So indeed, it was a 10 pool into a 9 extractor. Then you build 2 drones, then the overlord, and it actually lines up really beautifully to have 3 larvae as your spawning pool finishes and your overlord pops out. So here come those 6 Zerglings across the map. Again, the overlords of I almost called them Engyn, but we'll go with Engyn right now. Did not see any of these Zerglings, so he is not ready. He actually went for that extractor, got the spawning pool up thereafter, and he's now in a lot of trouble. Here come the Zerglings right up that ramp, bypassing that hatchery. They're going to go after some drones. One drone there already taking quite a bit of damage, but so far Engyn has managed to keep them alive. This is a tricky map as well to do the drone drill kind of trick, because you don't have any really narrow crevice in the minerals. It's really wide areas instead of the little nooks that we see on like Daybreak and Ohana. But so far, he has been able to really minimize the damage. It looks like not a single drone has been killed yet here so far by Proficient. Now, at the same time, it's important to note that Engyn did cancel his hatchery at that natural, get some extra minerals here since he hasn't been mining for the last while, and he's got 6 Zerglings on the way as well as that queen. But Proficient continuing to rally those Zerglings 2 by 2 across the map. It's like Noah's Ark here, but Engyn is holding fast, and he does have a nice advantage, 17-10 drones right now in Engyn's favor. There we see the speed finishing for Proficient, and that's allowing him to dart right in, getting his 2nd drone kill there. Spinecrawler will go down for clarityEngyn, but now with the queen up, as long as the Zerglings stay close to that queen, they should be able to protect these drones here extremely efficiently. Proficient has no macro intentions in this game whatsoever. He's just continuing to rally those Zerglings out across the map, and now, of course, with that speed, they are getting there a heck of a lot sooner. A lot more Zerglings here coming in for Proficient. Will he be able to overpower his opponent Engyn right now, trying to do his best with the micro on those drones? The Spinecrawler will get taken out. It does not get canceled, but at the end of the day, only 5 drones have been killed, and that does leave it 12 drones to 10, and Engyn here is still holding fast. More and more Zerglings here continue to come for Proficient. He got his own queen back at home, so he's starting to get those larva injects in the higher production rate. He's got a lot of Zerglings right now. Keep in mind that the Spinecrawler did get taken out. The Zerglings of Engyn are trying to hold. They do not have speed. It looks like they will all fall, and now a cancel on that Spinecrawler. The drone's trying to do some hold position micro, but it just won't be enough. The queen here now trying to soak up as much damage as she can, but Engyn gives the GG, and Proficient gonna go up 1-0. That was a heck of a fast-paced game there. Proficient really, I guess, exploiting the build orders early on in that series. Going for hatch first is really common play right now in Zerg versus Zerg, and I can't help but feel that Engyn's, I guess, I don't want to say misread of the map, but just not noticing that it was an MLG version or a GSL version that has those cross. I forgot I was on webcam right now. I should be paying more attention. But he didn't realize that it was not forced cross positions, so he didn't send overlords in the right directions to get a scout, didn't see those Zerglings coming until the very last second, and on top of that, it was Antigua Shipyard Mineral Line, which means there wasn't that little nook where you can really get all of the drones to clump up one on top of the other. So, as I say that, I've got to make sure that I continue multitasking, trying to get us here into game number 2, of course, between these two players. And just going to be loading it up right now. And there you go. We are ready to go. The players have changed their colors. We'll just make sure that I note the color changes. But here we go into Daybreak for Game 2 to see if Proficient will be able to close out the series or if Engyn is going to tie it up.
You are watching the Alienware Arena.
So here we go into Game 2. That first one was pretty quick, and maybe this time around I'll be able to get through the introductions before there's action starting. And up here in the top right, he's down a game right now. I don't know if he'll go for something as macro-oriented this game around. Probably try something a bit safer. It is clarityEngyn. And to the bottom left, able to take a game already here off of the #1 rank on the ladder. It is Proficient, and obviously showing himself to be quite so. So, of course, guys, this is the Alienware Arena, so definitely make sure to go check out the ladder, as well as some of the promotions and being able to sign up for future seasons at alienwarearena.com/SC2, and you can get all of your information over there, as well as on maps and upcoming matches. And, of course, we will be having the top players from this open ladder playing against the invited players like White Raw, In Control, Grubby, and quite a few others. So yeah, check out alienwarearena.com/SC2 to check out what's coming up in the near future. Now, Proficient here in the bottom left, really nice moves. I love this. He's sending a drone out. There goes the hatchery, and he got really aggressive in Game 1, trying to scare his opponent. Game 2, going to go for something a lot more macro-oriented, switching things up. But Engyn is not phased. He is going for a hatch first once again. Of course, here on Daybreak, it's going to be a much longer rush distance, and not only that, but he knows exactly where his opponents spawned. So his overlords are going to spot what's coming his way, and so he feels a lot more comfortable. And even more than that, third, you've got the little nooks that I was talking about. So if you take a look at the mineral lines, you see that there's kind of these 5 mineral patches that create 3 close mineral patches and 2 far mineral patches. And at each far mineral patch is a nice little nook where all the drones will clump right up one on top of each other. And the really cool feature about that is when you attack move out after clumping them all up, you basically get like 15, 17 drones all attacking, insta-killing one Zergling that is in range. So it's really cool little micro trick there, and I definitely suggest learning it if you are a Zerg player, even as a Protoss, Terran player. If you have any kind of early aggression coming your way, it's a trick that can definitely help you. So with that being said, we do have the overlords here ducking into the main bases, getting some vision on exactly what's happening, and we see Proficient able to spot his opponent's extractor timing, and over for Engyn, he was able to do the exact same thing. So right now, both players know exactly where their opponents are in their builds and should be feeling pretty comfortable here to just drone up for at least a little while. Now, the ZVZ meta has been changing quite a bit over the past few months, where we're seeing a lot less Zergling, Baneling, I guess, victories, if you will, and a lot less Roach timing attack victories as well. It's really coming down to more the 3-4 base Ultralisks, Broodlords, or tons and tons of Hydras, Infestors, and smaller amounts of Roaches in the late game that's winning the games. And that's as Zerg players are getting better and better at holding off timings, getting better and better with their Ling and Baneling control. And really the defender, even if you don't have a Spine Crawler up, has a huge advantage when trying to defend against Zerglings and Banelings. And it really just comes down to being able to set up your units beforehand, and therefore making sure that your Zerglings are split up, that they're not going to all die to just one Baneling explosion. And conversely as well, to defend with your Banelings to make sure that 2 of your opponent's Banelings isn't killing all your entire supply of Banelings back at home. So both players here still being passive. We see lots of drones on that production tab and lots of macro. We got evolution chambers going up for Proficient, 2 of them in fact, and that actually might point towards some Zergling play, which is something that can be really first of all, fun. It is really fun to play that Zergling style. They're so fast, you're constantly counterattacking and putting aggression on your opponent, always having that map control. But also can be extremely strong if you can get through the early phases. And there it is, we got a melee attack upgrade on the way along with that carapace. And you have to be a little bit worried about early Roach timings, but once you get past that Roach timing phase, if your opponent hasn't taken advantage of that situation, then you're in a great position. With Zerglings and Infestors, you can be at the same time really aggressive with your Zerglings, while Spine Crawlers and Infestors will keep you extremely safe at home from counterattacks of your opponent. And then in the late game, you can transition into really strong Ultralisk play, as you already have your 3-3 upgrades up for your melee attacks. So a couple of Zerglings here will run in for Engyn to the natural mineral line, and I think they got 1 single drone kill. Yeah, it looks like it. He's trying to get a second, and he will get a second there. So a little bit of harassment done. Overall, though, what he really wanted to see is those double evolution chambers and the gases. And he sees that his opponent here hasn't taken any gas at his natural, and that could be a little disconcerting here. And it looks like Proficient, I'm a little bit curious here, because he does have quite a few Zerglings pooled up in his main base, but at the same time he's also getting the lair. So all these Zerglings pooled up in his main base with the rather low drone count of only 33 kind of suggests that he's going to be going for a really strong +1/+1 timing. But that lair also suggests that he has something planned as a follow-up. So I'm going to keep a close eye here on exactly what he's trying to do. Engyn here poking at the front with some Zerglings. He's got his own Spire on the way back at home, not getting any upgrades whatsoever though, so he's really going to be relying on those Mutalisks. And the thing with Speedlings versus Roach attacks is that the Speedlings, they're so fast they can actually evade the Mutalisks more often than not, and the Mutas are just running around trying to catch them. A couple of Zerglings they're running in for Engyn. They're just going to get 1 more drone kill, a little bit more scouting, and then pull out, and he does manage to spot all of these Zerglings here coming out across the map. 20 more Zerglings already on the way for Proficient. Meanwhile, Engyn getting those Mutas out. He's got 8 Mutas here on the way, and of course a couple more Zerglings with a lot of Banelings. Of course, +1 carapace is done for Proficient, so that means that the Banelings will not actually kill off the Zerglings here in one shot. The Banelings are coming in. Proficient pulling back those Zerglings right now. A couple more Spine Crawlers do finish up in time, and I think that Engyn is going to be just fine here. It's going to be very difficult for Proficient to do anything. He is picking off some Banelings here without getting too many Zergling losses, but the Mutalisks are now out, and the Zerglings here rallying for Proficient, just unable to do much. And now we see Proficient actually going to try to get aggressive here nonetheless, but this is such a nice choke that Engyn has created with his Baneling Nest, with his Evolution Chamber, and there we see it. Engyn just able to clean up that attack, no problem, and now the supply tells the story. 90 supply for Engyn, 42 for Proficient. He had so much riding on that 1-1 timing, and now he's stuck with 27 drones since he was forced to build a bunch of Spore Crawlers, so at the very least he will be safe against that kind of Muta pressure that's surely going to be coming his way. But unfortunately, he is way behind in that drone count and just wasn't able to do that damage that he so desperately needed to do. So third base, oh, there's the GG from Proficient. I think he just realized that it just wasn't going to work out, and Engyn going to tie up the series. So that was a bit of a longer game there, but Proficient once again trying to use the speedlings to greatest effect, trying to hit a specific timing. Again, I'm kind of, I was thrown off by the lair. I feel like he should have maybe built a macro hatchery instead of mining more gas and building that lair. Maybe get a bit of extra production, a bit more mineral income to get some extra zerglings, because he needed to do a lot of damage with that attack. There wasn't any, okay, I put some pressure, I forced some zerglings out, that's enough, I can go home and continue macroing. It was really an attack that needed to kill off like 10, 15 plus drones. And he just wasn't able to do that, and of course, in the end, lost the game. So the series is now all tied up. We're going to be going here into our third and final game. It is, of course, a best of 3 here for the Alienware Arena. Before we do hop in, though, I want to remind all of our viewers that we also have other great tournaments happening. And, of course, Heroes of New Earth, League of Legends. Check out AlienwareArena.com. Even CSGO there as well. So check it out if you are a multi-gamer. As myself, I am. I love playing Counter-Strike. And though I don't always admit it, I do play some League of Legends. With that being said, we've got Game 3 on Cloud Kingdom coming up here between Proficient and Engyn. Who will be able to close out the series? We're about to find out.
You are watching the Alienware Arena.
Welcome, StarCraft 2 fans, to the third and final ace match here. Of course, it won't be the last series of the day, but it will be the last match in this first series. Right now, it is tied 1-1. The loser of that last match, though, he's spawning in the bottom left. It is Proficient. And to the top right, from Clarity Gaming, we've got our teal Zerg. Last game, the teal pieces really worked out for him versus the purple pieces from Game 1 where he lost. So he's sticking to them for Game 3. Maybe they'll bring him luck. It is Engyn. Now, Cloud Kingdom, another map here where Engyn is really going to get to know he already knows exactly where his opponent's base is, so he's sending that Overlord right across the map. He'll be able to see any Zerglings that might be coming, and I mention that because we once again see the 10 pool get thrown down by Proficient, followed up by that 9 Extractor. And again, guys, this is a really easy build to do. It is extremely effective on maps such as, I actually don't even know if it's still in the map pool. What was it called? It was that sand tile set, blizzard map. It's really huge. It's got the 4 spawning locations. Anyways, I am completely blanking on the name of that. I keep thinking Blackwater Gulch, but no, that was a much older map that was also a nice Blizzard 4-person map that this build would have been good on. But nonetheless, you can get really aggressive early on, and the speedlings, of course, really allow you to reinforce quickly. And on those larger maps, players really go for the hatch first plays. And this time around, though, Engyn did not do that. He did go for a 14 pool, now following it up with that 16 hatchery. Pretty standard 14-16 there coming. And oh, cute play by Proficient. He actually runs the Zerglings around out of that Overlord vision. He's got this build timed out really nicely, and now sending those Zerglings across the map. We see Proficient going right into a Queen here, so he won't have any rallying Zerglings too quickly here, but it doesn't seem to matter too much. We're going to have here Engyn actually already starting a Spineclaw. He's feeling suspicious since his Overlord did not spot any hatchery at the natural expansion of Proficient. And so he's got a Spineclaw on the way. He's got actually only 4 Zerglings here, so it might get a little bit dicey. We see the Zerglings of Proficient coming in and surrounding that Spineclaw. There's the cancel by Engyn. Probably going to restart a Spineclaw here very soon. The Zerglings about to pop out for Engyn, and that will basically spell the end of this attack for Proficient. And unlike on Antigua Shipyards, where Engyn went for that hatchery first play, we're going to see Engyn here able to just build enough Zerglings and even keep his hatchery, which is going to put him in a really strong position going going into the mid game. Now that being said, there are 6 more Zerglings coming for Proficient across the map, and we see the cancel from Engyn. So I think he saw the Zerglings coming across the map. He realized that he just didn't have enough of his own popping out, and he didn't want to pull drones or anything like that. So he's just going to stay safe here, stay by that spine crawler, which will finish here in just moments, get his gas, get his own speed up, and then hopefully take the victory from his opponent in 4, 5, 6 minutes time. So we see the Zerglings here continuing to poke in for Proficient. It is 13 drones to 13 drones, and it's important to note that the hatchery of Proficient here is on the way at the natural expansion. So he's not in a terrible position here whatsoever. And one of the reasons that Engyn is a little low on drones right now is, for one, he lost his drone at the natural when he canceled his hatchery, but he also had to invest into a spine crawler a little bit later on. So losing 2 drones there, and on top of that, losing an extra drone, just losing it to the speedlings poking in. So that's really allowed him, or rather allowed Proficient to even things up in the drone count. But we see Engyn now, as he feels more comfortable with that spine crawler out and his own Zergling numbers getting higher and higher, has gone back to drone production, and we do see Proficient instead continuing to mine that gas and throwing up a Baneling nest, which is kind of hindering his ability to build drones, and he's fallen behind here, 19 to 16 right now in that drone count. So we did have those Zerglings popping in for Proficient, trying to force a cancel on that hatchery, but Engyn able to react in time. I really feel like Proficient should be pressuring a bit more with those Zerglings. He has speed, whereas as his opponent does not. So he should really be able to put pressure on this hatchery and maybe even sneak up into the main base. He might not be aware that the spine crawler is close to the ramp. Because if he feels like it's still close to the mineral line, then he feels, okay, even if I get up into the main base, I'm not really going to do any damage. But either way, both players now going to have those Baneling nests completed. We're going to have hatcheries finishing at about the same time. And the drone counts have once again converged a tiny bit here, 22 to 18 right now. And actually Proficient going right back into a lot of Zergling production. And even Engyn here building 6 Zerglings of his own. He's got 2 morphing Banelings at home in case of any kind of counterattack shenanigans. But it looks like he's really deciding here to get aggressive with these Zerglings as he finishes his own metabolic boost. Taking a look back at home for Proficient, he has his own 2 Banelings here morphing in, so it doesn't look like any aggression here is going to do damage on one side nor the other, and we're going to see both players here likely go into some drone production. But 16 Zerglings did just hatch for Proficient, 2 Banelings here morphing on the ramp for Engyn. We see a Baneling here trying to bait out some explosions. It's interesting how it actually takes 2 Banelings to kill 1 Baneling. It's a funny little situation there, and there we see it, 1 Baneling eating an explosion but not going down. Now the Banelings here are trying to push in for Engyn. He will force another Baneling to explode. Now if you can just pick off that last Baneling, he might be able to do something, but the Zergling count here for Proficient is enormous, and Engyn immediately realizes it. He's got 20 Zerglings here on the way, but Proficient has 16 of his own. He's only got 18 drones right now to the 30 of Engyn, so he is really feeling that his time to attack is now going to continue to put on that pressure. An extra spine crawl though has completed for Engyn. He's got a Roach Horn here trying to narrow that choke a tiny bit more. He's got more Banelings on the way, and we've got Engyn now trying to put on some pressure here and push his opponent's Zerglings back. So far, great control though from Proficient, surrounding the Zerglings of his opponent, doing a great job and forcing another Baneling to explode. Engyn right now not able to kill any of those Zerglings. More Zerglings are pushing up into the natural, but the spine crawlers are dealing with those 4 now. There's lots of Banelings up for Engyn, 8 of them total right now, and he's got another 3 on the way, but 11 Banelings are morphing in for Proficient. Looks like this game is all going to come down to the next 15 to 20 seconds. A third spine crawler here is on the way for Engyn, but it will not be up in time, and it's all going to come down to the control. We see Engyn here pre-splitting his Banelings 2 by 2 by 2, and in he goes. Huge Baneling hits there going down. So far, great defense by Engyn. There's only 1 Baneling left, and there will fall, and without any Banelings, Proficient here is unable to push into that narrow choke area near the natural, and we see him immediately start 10 drones worth of production, realizing that he won't be able to do any damage here. Engyn, though, has held off, and he's at 32 to 23 drones right now, though of course that will end up 32 to 28. So it is still rather close here between these 2 players, as Proficient was able to force enough Zerglings out of his opponent here. Now, Engyn continue to try to push out across the map. So far, Proficient here still doing some excellent micro. Both of these players here really, really strong with their micro rather. But we do see that Proficient here is floating about 500 minerals, so he's slipping just a tiny bit more on his macro than his opponent Engyn is, and that's something that really might hurt him. So a couple of Banelings here trying to pressure up into the natural Proficient. Proficient, unlike Engyn, does not have any spine crawlers, and we do have some roaches now pushing forward for Engyn as well. It looks like now that Proficient's attack has failed, Engyn feels like it is his turn now to get aggressive. Those things here trying to get us around the Banelings of Engyn, almost getting some huge explosions there, but so far unable to lock down that big damage. They're going to try here once again, and there they go. The Zerglings of Proficient going down. He's down to just 42 supply. Even saying nice trap, realizing his opponent here had some really nice moves, and GG from Proficient. Engyn going to come back 2 games in a row to take the series 2-1. Whew. I gotta make sure to get that oral lubrication going. Water, so important for a caster. Of course, we are covering week 7 here for the Alienware Arena. And that was our first series. Great games, really showing how important micro can be. And Proficient showing some really strong micro there, definitely. But Engyn just able in the end to not necessarily out micro him, because I feel like on the micro front it was really even on both sides. But Engyn was just able to macro a little bit stronger behind that micro and hold the aggression of Proficient on both occasions there in game 2 and 3, earning him a win in that series. And that's why he is right now ranked 1 on that ladder. So that being said, guys, we're going to go into our next series here in just a moment. It is going to be between DDE, who's actually playing Zerg, so I'm not sure if it's the same DDE that we've all know and love, that Canadian Terran. My producer is saying that it is, so awesome. He's changing to Zerg. A lot of players right now not liking the Zerg race, or rather they don't like playing against it, so maybe he's, I guess putting his money where his mouth is, actually switching races, going to see how he can do playing up against OSH. Now, I believe we are going to go to a quick break right here between the series. Of course, this is the Alienware Arena, guys. Go check it out, alienwarearena.com/SC2.